we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of getting Howard Road, which was, you know, has been hugely significant. But there was quite a lot that went on before that, and I think in a way our ability to purchase Howard Road came out of what the conditions that had gone before. Well, obviously, isn't it? Particularly somewhat harder. So there are two key factors that I would sort of highlight, really, that enabled us to make that purchase in 2001/2. Firstly, so Sheffield Buddhist Centre, well, well, yes, in a way, the centre came into existence in 1993 when a council formed of myself, Advaita Susidhi, Mogavamsa and Smriti Ratna. And I think what was really significant about that was that it was the founding of the Sheffield Centre was really rooted in friendship. So Susidhi agreed to move to Sheffield to become chair of the centre. And because he moved here, Mogavamsa moved here because they were really good friends. And then Smriti Ratna moved here because he was a really good friend of Mogavamsa. So the beginning of the real sort of beginning of regular classes and so on, and us having running a proper program of classes and things started in 93, 94, and that was rooted in friendship. And also, actually, I just will mention an older member from the London Buddhist Centre called Samavahita. She moved here also in 93 because she had a very strong commitment to seeing women get ordained in the north of England, because she was from the north herself, and she had a really good friendship with the person who became Siyapada, and they, Brenda as she was, Siyapada, she moved from Leeds and Samavahita moved from London, and that was because, again, that was because of friendship. So, you know, although when we think of a centre, we think of bricks and mortar most readily, actually, centres exist in, I mean, a centre only exists if it's a Sangha, and our Sangha is very clearly rooted in friendship. And then, interestingly, when I was thinking about this, excuse me, I think of another very significant point was in 1995, in a way, the Metro Sangha came into being. So if you look at the picture of mitras, there's 1995, there were 9 people made mitras, one of whom was Achara. And I think prior to that, people had become mitras maybe in 1s or 2s, and sometimes it was because they'd moved here because of work, or sometimes they got in touch, they'd met Sri Ratna through Taraloka or Padmaloka, and then they looked for something here because that's where they were living. But what was significant about those 9 people who became mitras in 95 was, well, partly the numbers, that was kind of quite significant. But also they'd all come through the classes that we'd been running in Sheffield. So they'd all come through, as it were, Sheffield Centre classes. They weren't just here because of work or because of whatever. So I think that was another really significant point, that there were these people who were obviously really committed to Buddhism and the Dharma, but they were committed to it in the way that it was being presented in Sheffield, sort of local Sangha. So I think that that's just been a very important strand in the development of Sheffield, and it's just been built on very, very solid foundations. And then the other thing, the other key factor from those years, which enabled us to buy the centre in Howard Road, is the fact that Siddy had a lot of common sense in a very sort of pragmatic way, and he was also very generous. So there was this Windhorse Publications community in Crooksmore Road, and that community sort of dissolved, and they were moving on, and they had to sell the property, and we had no money. So, you know, we couldn't afford to buy it. And Siddy was just adamant. He just said it was really, really important that we bought it. So he had that vision, or, you know, that he sort of knew about the importance of owning property, really. And he kind of insisted that, or said it was really important that we bought it. So in the end, he decided, or chose to return to work as a pharmacist. So he did his re-registration as a pharmacist and went back to work as a pharmacist so he could pay the mortgage, which was enormously generous of him. And it also meant, there's this very poignant story Tomoga Ramsar tells of how he had to give up his car, which he loved. He loved his car. Could no longer afford to run it. So he was just very generous, and but also had this vision that, you know, of the importance of property. So he had a really strong, pragmatic common sense. And I would say just generally about the order in Sheffield and our community here, there is a lot of common sense and maturity, which again, I think has been a kind of, those qualities have been very important. So it was the fact that we had that, we owned property in Crooksmore Road that enabled us to buy Howard Road. It gave us the deposit. So without that, without owning that property, we wouldn't have been able to do that. Which also just reminds me, you know, at the beginning of the Karaniya Metta Sutta, the Buddha talks about the importance of being able and capable in a worldly sense. So I would say there's been a lot of capable, we've been very fortunate, there's been a lot of sort of able, capable people in the order in Sheffield who've been able to see the importance of, well, yeah, things like property and so on. So those are kind of, yeah, those are sort of one or two factors which I think were really crucial. Yeah, without Siddy's, well, insistence and also generosity, we wouldn't have been able to buy.